Peptides are one of those skincare buzzwords that sound really sciencey, but a lot of people aren't totally sure what they actually are, what they do, or if they're even worth using. So today we're gonna break that down and make it crystal clear. By the end, I hope you know exactly how to think about peptides in your routine, what to look for in an ingredient deck for the big hitters, and I'll give you a few recommendations at the end of the video of the best peptide products that I have in my own personal routine. So let's start with the basics. Peptides are short chains of amino acids. Basically, they are little fragments of protein. And since proteins are the building blocks of your skin, peptides are like the Lego bricks that can also send messages to your cells. I like that one, Lego bricks. Here's an easy way to picture it. Imagine that your skin cells are construction workers and collagen is the scaffolding of a building. Peptides are like Post-it notes that you leave for those workers. Little instructions that tell them to build more scaffolding, patch up cracks, or reinforce weak spots. Now we have to talk about fibroblasts because fibroblasts are the cells that are, well, you can think of them as the master builders in your skin. They are the ones that make collagen. They're the ones that make elastin. And they even make something called glycosaminoglycans, which is just a huge word for the stuff that helps to keep your skin bouncy and hydrated. Now, over time, fibroblasts get a little bit sluggish, and that happens especially more and more as we're over 40 or over 50, and that is where peptides can come in. Now, certain peptides can basically tap fibroblasts on the shoulder, and they can say, hey, let's get back to work. This is where I think people sometimes get a little bit confused because you might remember that I recently made a video on growth factors and I was comparing that growth factors to DNA repair enzymes and to exosomes. And a lot of these things all start to sound very similar, I know that, but they are all very different. Growth factors are big. They are complex proteins that act like loudspeakers. They broadcast wide, powerful signals telling cells to grow and to repair. Peptides, on the other hand, are smaller and they're more specific. They do not have the same broad influence that growth factors have, but they can nudge those fibroblasts, those super important cells that make the collagen and make the elastin and make those glycosaminoglycans. They can nudge those fibroblasts in targeted ways. So think of growth factors as the boss giving an all hands on deck speech, while peptides are the little sticky notes or the text messages reminding and nudging you to handle one specific task. So, what kinds of peptides show up in skincare? I think we should talk about a few of the famous ones, and they're famous for good reason. They're the ones that have science behind them, and they're the ones that actually do work to affect positive change in our skin. So let's talk about a big one first. That is Argireline, which is acetohexapeptide 8. Now, this one is often nicknamed Botox in a bottle, and we all know that there is no such thing. So let's just keep it real. There is no topical cream that is going to freeze a muscle the way that Botox injections do. But Argireline works a little bit more like its polite cousin. So normally when your brain tells a facial muscle to move, there is a protein called SNAP25 that helps to deliver the message from your brain to the muscle in your eyebrow, let's say. Now, Argireline steps in like a speed bump, making that message less efficient. Botox cuts off the message completely. It can't get from A to B. Argireline just causes a little interruption, so the message is less effective. Now, the result of that, of course, is that expression lines, crow's feet, forehead wrinkles, your 11s, they can look less etched over time. You are not erasing them, but you're lowering the volume on that repetitive creasing. Clinical studies have shown that Argireline can reduce wrinkle depth around our eyes and on our forehead when applied consistently for weeks and months. So for those of us in our 40s and 50s, it's often where you start to see those once, temporary lines. They used to, just go away. After a while, they start to settle in for good. Argireline can help to soften that look. So it's a very, very good peptide. It's important to differentiate that it is not Botox in a bottle, but it definitely can affect some positive change on those kind of etched in lines. Now, the next one we have to talk about is Matrixyl. That is Palmitoyl pentapeptide 4 and all of its cousins. Now, this one is another powerhouse. Think of Matrixyl as the project manager for your fibroblasts. Remember, fibroblasts are the builders making collagen and making elastin. So as we age, they get a little lazy. Matrixyl tricks them back into action. Now, here's how that does that. When collagen breaks down, this is so incredible, you guys. When collagen breaks down, it leaves little fragments behind. Your skin interprets those fragments as basically like an SOS signal, basically saying, our scaffolding is crumbling, repair immediately. Matrixyl mimics those fragments. So when fibroblasts detect the fragments or the Matrixyl, they rush in to patch things up. I think that's so cool. It reminds me a little bit of microneedling. It's like you're tricking your skin into creating more collagen. So the result with the Matrixyl is increased collagen and increased glycosaminoglycans, which should never be underestimated because they are, again, what keeps you bouncy and hydrated, plump and smooth, the good stuff. So clinical studies show that Matrixyl can actually reduce wrinkle depth and improve elasticity with consistent use. You got to use all this stuff for a while. It takes weeks to months, and it's like putting your fibroblasts back on the payroll after they've been retired for a few years. All right, now the final one I want to talk about today is possibly my favorite, although Matrixyl is pretty dang close, and it is copper peptides. This one has been a favorite of mine for years and years. And if Matrixyl is the project manager and Argireline is the polite cousin of Botox, copper peptides are the multi-tool. They're the antioxidant, they are wound healing, they are collagen stimulating all at once. Now, the copper part is super critical because copper is a trace mineral that your body uses to activate enzymes that build collagen and elastin. So copper is super important in the building of collagen and elastin. So one of the most studied versions is GHK-Cu, which naturally exists in our plasma, it's in our saliva, and this little tripeptide helps to regulate genes tied to repair. It reduces inflammation, and it even can support hair growth. So you think of copper peptides as the coach who doesn't just motivate the builders, but also hands them better tools, calms them down when they're stressed out, or makes sure that the work site stays clean. So some studies compare their wrinkle reducing power to retinoids. I don't know if I would go that far because they're so different, but I get it because they do such an amazing job at encouraging collagen and elastin and all of the good stuff that we look to retinoids to do. All right, so there are also peptide complexes. So sometimes you will see that in a product. You will see, peptide complex on the label. That just means that it is a cocktail of multiple peptides designed to target several pathways at once. It's like giving your skin a to-do list with 5 reminders instead of just one, 5 post-it notes instead of just one post-it note. Because think of each peptide as having a specific nudge, a specific little, thing that it tells whatever it's after to do. So now the question always becomes, how do peptides even get in? Do they get in? And it's a huge question, and I get it. And the truth is, not all peptides are created equally. Their size, their structure, and their charge all matter. And honestly, for a long time, I didn't understand about the charge, its polarity, and it's almost like some peptides can be half of a magnet, and the inside of our skin can suck it in even if it's too big. So some of them are small enough to sneak in on their own, but many of them will rely on delivery systems like liposomes, which we've talked about, encapsulation. And of course, that is when a peptide is packaged in that protective bubble that helps it to cross the skin barrier. We just talked about that the other day when we talked about DNA repair enzymes. Let's talk about a few of my recommendations. Like I said, these aren't all new, but we're gonna go with my every single night, and that is the Maylove Peptide Squad. I love this one. You guys have heard me talk about this now for years. It's relatively affordable. It is a copper peptide serum. That's what I primarily use it for, but it does also have Argireline, and it does also have Matrixyl. And you know what? I've actually been using this forever, primarily as that copper peptide serum. And I really kind of re-examined the ingredient deck when I was looking at it for this video. And I don't even know if I realized that it had Matrixyl. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I probably did at one point, but I think I forgot. And so it just makes me love it even more. Now, Maylove does not disclose the percentage of copper peptide. That is my one and only complaint about this product. But frankly, the cocktail of peptides that are in this product are so stellar. I don't even know what bottle I am on of this product, and it's just fantastic. So that is Maylove Peptide Squad, a huge recommendation of mine. I use this at night in my serum step. It goes on. I use it at night before. I use retinoids at night. I use all kinds of stuff at night. It goes with everything that I use at night. I just layer it in my serum step, and I use it every single day without irritation. So another one that is a huge recommendation of mine that I did a video on probably in the last 6 months is the Medik Liquid Peptides Advanced MP. This one and one other here, heavy hitters. So this has like 30 peptides in it, and it does have the Matrixyl 3000, it does have Argireline, the acetyl hexapeptide 8, and it also has copper peptides. Now, it has a gazillion other peptides in there. I mean, talk about an amazing ingredient deck. Of course, I'm going to put it up on the screen. It's really impressive. It has humectants in there, but it also has what they call mini proteins that act like growth factors. To be honest with you, that is kind of new tech, and because this is a video about peptides, I'm not going to get too far into that, but it is kind of interesting tech to miniaturize something to ensure that it's small enough to get across. Anyway, this is such a beautiful formula. It is a little bit thicker of a serum, and I would still use it in the serum step. I think that it is fantastic, and honestly, I put this away for a while and just went back to my Medik. I think I'm gonna layer them. After researching, I always do this, after researching peptides again, I'm like, man, I think I should have peptides everywhere all the time. So I'm going to reincorporate this into my evening routine. I don't care if I layer up 3 different peptide serums. I'm happy to do that, but this is a big recommendation. Now, Medik does also have their liquid peptides, their original serum. I did think that that was really nice as well, and I thought that that one, I haven't used it for a long time, but I thought that that one was a little bit more hydrating. This one to me is hydrating, but that's not its primary objective. Its objective is to feed your skin tons and tons of peptides and mini proteins, and it definitely does do that. So, and I love this brand. I think Medik is such a fantastic brand and reputable. They are definitely a brand that has a stellar reputation for getting good results and producing good products. So that is the Medik Liquid Peptides Advanced NP. Possibly the heaviest hitter on this list of recommendations. So the next one is the newest to me, but it has quickly gained some affection from me because this one was sent to me originally. I will absolutely repurchase this one. It is from Dr. Whitney Bowe, and it is her P46. I've been using this in the morning. Now, she does say to use it morning and night, but I've got my nighttime pretty much covered, and I just don't think I can fit something else in there. This is a super duper silky serum that you can put on your face, neck, décolleté, and not only is it going to give you a ton of hydration because it has hyaluronic acid, it has beta-glucan, which is a humectant that is also super duper soothing. It also has polyglutamic acid. That's another humectant that is incredibly hydrating to the skin. So for that part, it makes your skin immediately look plumped up and hydrated and beautiful. It is such a pretty serum, and it's so gorgeous under makeup because it's very silky. It literally makes your skin look a little bit more refined right after you put it on. She used peptides that she said mimic her in-office treatments. So signaling peptides and peptides that interrupt those neurotransmissions that will cause us to have muscle motion and stuff like that. And she put them all together in a way that you're going to get all that hydration, but you're also going to get these proprietary combination of peptides. And again, she did it looking at the stuff that she does in office, and she wanted to try and mimic the outcomes as much as possible in a topical. What I do know is that it is an instant love. I mean, I put it on and I was like, it's been a long time since I put a serum on that I right away just went, oh, made my skin look immediately better. It is not your run-of-the-mill hyaluronic acid humectant serum because it has those powerhouse peptides in there. So this was an awesome launch. I have to say, I get sent, and I've said this so many times, I get sent everything. I see a lot of things, I try a lot of things, and the things that really stand out. It is a sea of skincare out there. There are new products launching all the time, every day. And so every once in a while you get something, and when you're really impressed by it, it's pretty cool. So this one is great. If you are someone with dry skin, if you are someone who feels like you need to address crepey skin, you want instant gratification, you want a serum that is going to make your skin look better in the moment, that you can wear during the day as an added boost of hydration and plumpness, then this might be one to look for. So bravo to Dr. Whitney Bowe. This is the P46. This is her peptide and HA plumping serum, perfectly named. Okay, and the last one I have to mention because this has been in my skincare arsenal for years, since they launched it. It is the Dermatology Peptide Night Cream. Now, I don't always use this at night. In fact, I would say more often than not, this is a daytime moisturizer for me, especially going into the winter. A lot of times over the summer and the fall, spring, summer, and fall, early fall, I can actually use my serums, and like my vitamin C from Photozyme is enough moisture for me, especially if I'm gonna wear makeup. Now into the late fall and all through the winter, I wear a moisturizer during the day. I like to find moisturizers that do more than just moisturize the skin. That's what this is. This is a silky, beautiful moisturizer from Dermatology, but it is packed with all those good peptides that we've talked about. So I know I'm getting a little bit more than just a run-of-the-mill moisturizer. So if you are somebody who doesn't want a serum, you want your moisturizer to do more for you than just moisturize your skin, and you're looking for something silky that plays incredibly well under makeup and SPF, this is such a good option. The price point cannot be beat. You can get this huge tub for a reasonable amount of money. It lasts forever, and it's been a recommendation of mine for a really long time. So that is the Peptide Night Cream that you definitely can use at night, but 100% you can use it during the day as well. You just, of course, have to follow up with an SPF during the day. All right, so those are my 4 recommendations. I realize that there isn't a lot new there except for the Dr. Whitney Bowe, but my recommendations kind of stick around for a long time. This Maylove, I cannot ever see it being out of my routine because the price point is so good. The ingredient deck is stellar, and I feel like I have noticed change over time, just improvement in my skin. Now, if you've tried any of these, I would love your review of them down in the comment section, whether it's good or it's neutral, or if you didn't care for something, please do leave that. It is always helpful for the entire community to hear what other people think, not just me. I am one person with one skin, and I would love for everybody else to chime in and give their 2 cents as well. I hope that you are having the most wonderful day. I hope you learned a little bit about peptides. Remember, sticky notes, telling those fibroblasts or various things one little job to do, not the megaphone that growth factors are. They're the little sticky notes that nudge our one thing, how to do something. And when you have those complexes, that's lots of sticky notes together telling that whatever it's after to do multiple little to-dos on the list. Hopefully that helps to break down what peptides are. I hope you have a really great day, and I will talk to you in my next skincare video. Take care.